Did you know that a child spends 60 to 70% of their school time in the sitting position? Nowadays, even more time is spent sitting due to increased use of technology. Meanwhile, metabolic, cardiovascular, and musculoskeletal issues are on the rise. The research shows that the monotonous sitting without any changes in positions is associated with low back pain. One of the solutions to the problem is modulating the inside and outside environment of the school. But still, to which extent should we incorporate more mobility in school without disrupting children's focus and impairing their school performance? The goal is to eliminate the monotonous sitting and, in this matter, try to induce frequent changes of static positions. This should be done to an extent of maintaining or even increasing children's focus and at the same time trying to contribute to their health. So, how can we ergonomically redesign schools' equipment to meet the children's health standards? But before answering that question, I want to introduce you to the anti-representational theories, which go in hand with the ecological psychology and the Gibson's theory of affordances. Anti-representational theory argues that the perception and action are directly connected, meaning that there are no mental processes in between. The stimuli from the environment are already meaningful and therefore no interpretation of the information is necessary in order to produce an action. The environment provides us with the ambient energy, and the to-be-perceived information is defined by the light that falls onto the objects. These expose different surfaces and structure the light that falls onto them. These objects will later on be referred as affordances. The light ray, after being structured from the objects, eventually ends up on our retina. This is how we perceive the information that environment offers us. However, whenever the perceiver moves in space, a different optic array is available and therefore different information is perceived. So, what exactly are affordances? The term affordance was established by Gibson, an ecological psychologist who described it as an object that is offered to the animal as a purpose for its use. Respectively, affordances are the opportunities for action. For example, a ball affords the player to navigate with it and score a goal. A chair offers to the person to sit on it, but to a fly it offers a landing place. Affordances act as a source to accomplish a task or to complete an action goal. With the change of movement and thereby the change of optic flow, new affordances can emerge. One of the empirical pieces of evidence implying theory into practice was the experiment of Witthagen and Koyau, called the end of sitting. This experiment was testing the newly designed working environment designed by the visual artist Barbara Visser. The two different working environments were compared in the experiment. One was the traditional office, where participants used regular chairs to work on their presentation. The other room was an alternative office designed as an architectural intervention, eliminating chairs and desks and motivating participants to find any other positions but sitting, for example, standing or leaning. Such type of architectural intervention created an environment causing some amount of discomfort to motivate participants to change positions. Another important feature was that the sculpture provided different sizes of the alternative desks to fit everyone. To examine whether the newly designed room had potential benefits for the participants, the two groups were created, working on their presentation in each of those rooms for 75 minutes. In the alternative office, as it was hypothesized, the participants were regularly changing positions since they had more affordances to choose from. In the conventional office, however, all but one participant spent all their working time in one static position, sitting. The study revealed that the participants were more satisfied working in the alternative office. They reported feeling more energetic after its use, however, their legs were more tired than in the conventional office. The concentration levels were not significantly different between both working spaces, suggesting that eliminating sitting and frequently changing positions had no negative nor positive effect on focus. However, we must acknowledge that although the new office was designed to support the well-being of the participants, longitudinal studies are needed to support this premise. Torbanes et al. Conducted a meta-analysis, including the existing literature of alternative ways of sitting such as standing, treadmill, or cycling desks. They were also including the longitudinal studies. Many of the studies were done on adults and some of them on children. They concluded that the implementation of such working environment has major positive effect on their health aspects, such as an impact on energy expenditure and fat percentage, HDL, and overall well-being. Authors concluded that this may be a good alternative solution, however, they are still suggesting that more research is required on the aspects of cognitive function, as no conclusions could be drawn from it. Carden et al. Conducted a study which was examining the potential benefits of so-called mobile school on children. In mobile school, sitting is replaced by dynamic sitting, standing, or walking around. The study revealed that the trunk flexion never reached 45 degrees in mobile school, as it did in conventional schools, suggesting that the postures were healthier in terms of minimizing the torques and causing less chance for development of musculoskeletal pain. The study also confirmed that more freedom in terms of mobility in the classroom did not influence their time spent reading or writing, suggesting that their focus was not driven away from learning. Now, if I go back to initial question, how can we ergonomically redesign the equipment in schools to meet children's health standards? To answer this question, I designed the idea of the affording classroom as a solution to the problem of sitting in accordance with the theory and existing evidence. The structure of the classroom resembles the conventional one, however, it does not contain any chairs, though the teaching is still performed frontally. The classroom consists of many affordances, allowing children to use them in many ways. In the first row, the pupils are allowed to lean back almost in a laying position. In the second row, they are provided with the mats, allowing children to kneel on them. In the third row, they are actively sitting on exercise balls. The fourth row offers pupils to engage in active sitting, since some of their weight is still on their legs. And in the last one, pupils are invited to use a counter which is resembling a standing desk. Separately, a multi-affordance sculpture is on the right side of the classroom, providing different positions. Besides, all the affordances should meet the anthropometrical standards for all pupils. Therefore, different sizes of balls, mats, counters, and desks should be provided. Additionally, every teacher should provide behavioral rules during the class. For instance, incorporating breaks to regularly change positions within classroom, and under which conditions are they allowed to use the slide. It is important to take into consideration that possible disagreements among pupils may emerge, and in this case, it is the teacher's responsibility to act accordingly to those and even set some additional rules. The equipment on the market for outside areas is already quite rich and thereby fulfilling the idea of the affordances. However, school architects should take into consideration that anthropometrics of the kids are quite various and think about building affordances appropriate for every child. For example, building additional bars to the ladder for the slope. The main takeaways are the following. Save children from developing symptoms of prolonged sitting. Often include moving breaks in traditional classrooms. Add many affordances to the pupil's environment inside and outside school. Build affordances in accordance to fit all sizes of children. Consider redesigning classroom to reduce sitting time. And educate children on the importance of physical exercise and the negative effects of sitting. On the other hand, Don't eliminate active breaks. Don't limit the number of affordances in schools. Don't promote long hours of sitting without any breaks. And last, don't ignore the signs of children's health-related issues.